Hey guys, Iceman here. So I've been watching a lot of the Diablo 4 gameplay footage, folks streaming it, stuff like that. And from my last video, there's some parts of it that kind of remind me of Diablo 3, a lot more noticeably now after watching folks stream it. But I think it's primarily just the graphics that look like Diablo 3, which unfortunately is saying kind of a lot. But there's a lot of other things that I do like about the game. And in this video, I was going to mention a few things. And yeah, what you see playing here is the footage that BlizzCon released. It was the first gameplay footage we saw just yesterday. And yeah, I really did like it. But I think the problem is it just reminds me too much of Diablo 3 when I'm watching folks run around and open up a chest and the items fall out of the chest and they look just like they did in Diablo 3. The blue, the yellow, the little legendary falling, stuff like that. And the enemies, they don't look like the Diablo 2 enemies so much. They're all exaggerated and shit, just like in Diablo 3. And they're moving as though they're walking and with less gravity restraining them than ought to be if they were in the world we're familiar with, and shit like that. Just the physics. The physics seem to be a bit exaggerated. But maybe in the end that'll be okay. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. And at first I thought it was kind of dark, but at this point, after watching a lot of the game, it doesn't seem too fucked up. It seems probably just about right in that way. And there is still maybe a little bit of charm about it. But yeah, just the fact that the physics and shit seem like distorted just like how they were in Diablo 3. That doesn't really please me so much is all. However, I took some shots. Check this out. I have the skill tree, for example, and in addition to that I have a talent tree, which I think is really nice. For one, check this out. Here's the Sork. Alright, the sorceress. And of course she has a lot of Diablo 1 like spells, or Diablo 2 spells, and some Diablo 1 as well. One of which is Fireball. Now here's something that's a really good thing in my opinion, that really brings it back to Diablo 1 and 2 in terms of how the game plays. The fact that this Fireball spell, for example, does its own damage, and it's not based on weapon damage. Like in Diablo 3, you just have to find the highest damage weapon, and you could use that, and all your skills were built around that. They'd just do 200% weapon damage or 250% weapon damage. And sometimes with the sets later in game, dumbass numbers like 10,000% weapon damage. Things like that. It just ruined the game for one, but that's beside the point. Yeah, this is a really good thing. And what's also great is that you can rank up these spells. That's just like leveling them up in Diablo 2. Here's what Diablo 2 skill tree looks like, and I'll bring up the Diablo 4 skill tree in just a moment. But yeah, it's ranking up your skills works just like this, and I'm sure you get your rank points from leveling, maybe from some other things, I don't know. But the fact that it does a set amount of damage is told. In perfect rank, of course, you start gaining damage. And I think in the panels they made mention of how certain ranks will, like the higher you rank it, there'll be some spells that will have different effects the higher you rank them. So it adds even more, elements to the gameplay and stuff like that. But like, for example, this says the mana cost is 30 and it hurls a ball of fire that explodes on contact, dealing 1,500 to 1,800 damage to nearby enemies. And it deals fire damage. So that's great. That it's just like Diablo 2. These spells do their own damage, and ranking them up is what's most important. Then it allows for a lot of customization. Now, here's something else that's interesting. I'll show you the skill tree. Here it is. Here's the Barbarian skill tree. And this is now highlighting Bash, for example. The same concept, where Bash has its own damage that it does, and it adds to your weapon. It's not, some setup like how Diablo 3 is, where everything's based on weapon damage. Dealing 42 to 51 damage. It has a 20% chance to stun for 0.5 seconds. And this is rank No, I don't see the rank on that. Oh, it's not there. Hasn't even been a point put into it. But yeah, just another example. And there's a couple other shots I have of the skill tree. Shit, where are they? I don't see them at this point. But another thing that's really important that I think is a great addition to Diablo 4, although many have criticized how tiny it is, and they call it the skill twig instead of the skill tree. And a lot of folks are comparing this game, of course, to Path of Exile. And for good reason. When I first watched the Diablo 4 gameplay footage, I thought it looked a lot like Path of Exile, which I really started warming up to. I thought that was Toad, that it looks a lot like Path of Exile. But then after seeing the folks stream it like crazy, I saw more of a resemblance, what I thought, to Diablo 3, with how the enemies are. It seems like some of the enemy models are straight out of Diablo 3, but that's just how it looks to me. I've heard that they have used a different game engine to build Diablo 4 from the ground up, but I mean, maybe that engine is very similar to the one they use with D3, I don't know. But nonetheless, this skill tree is really nice, or the talent tree, I think is what this is called. Now, it's very nice because it allows for another tier of customization. So if you have your skill tree up, your regular skill tree, what you can do is you can modify those skills even further with this talent tree. And I was just playing WoW a few months ago for the first time, and I found a lot of things about that game very appealing. One of which was the talent tree. I just thought it was so Toad how you could rank up your spells, just like how now you can do in Diablo 4, even though that's the same concept that was used in Diablo 2, where you can rank these up. You can rank up your spells, and then you can further modify them with the talent tree. So I think that's Toad. And just like in WoW, some of these talents you can have up to 5 points max in them. And of course, your points are going to be limited. Maybe you get them as you level up. You probably end up not getting enough talents to fill the whole tree, so there's always going to be your custom builds. Just one more way for the builds to vary from one another. And on the panels, I believe it was mentioned how items are going to add an additional tier of customization because they're going to have things that affect your spells on them quite often. So like, for example, this talent that modifies your spells is called Blaze of Glory. It's for the sorceress. And it says fire critical strike damage is increased by 3%. In addition, burning enemies deal 2% less to you. So, and that can have up to 5 points in it. And this works kind of like a tree. You have to, there's a lot of prerequisites to get to, say, the talent that you really want and things like that. So the fact that that's in the game, yeah, I think that's really Toad. So just still, watching stuff on this Diablo 4, and that is the part that throws me off the most right now. Even though I think overall, I'm kind of excited to play it, but I was even more excited last night from the gameplay trailer before seeing folks stream the game like crazy, where again it just started to look a little bit more like Diablo 3. But yeah, with everything else, it seems to be really lining up as to what could make a Toad Diablo game. But of course, Path of Exile 4.0, I think, is being announced over the next 2 weeks. One of these days coming up, I'm not sure when, but before the end of this month it's going to be announced and I think showcased. So folks are saying, that's going to be like the biggest competition for Diablo 4. And of course, everyone's shit talking. Ooh, look at this, a unique ring. Let's identify this real quick. Oh, shit. This is the Path of Diablo mod. Ravenfrost. Maybe we'll go slam it. Yeah, we're going to go slam it because I wear a Ravenfrost right now, and it cannot corrupt. That corrupt didn't do shit to it. And look at this, that's a high one. Holy shit. That's probably the highest one I've ever found. 19 dex, 1 from perfect, which would be 20, and only like 11 attack rating, I think. I think these range from 150 to 250 attack rating. So this is very close to the max attack rating as well. Shield. Yeah, it didn't do anything. But it is better than my other one, so I'll put that on. But anyway, yeah, folks are saying Path of Exile 4.0 is going to be the most towed competition for Diablo 4. And a lot of folks, you know, just talking shit, saying Diablo 4 lost already, you know, from this reveal and stuff. It just looks like Diablo 3.5. And a lot of shit like that is being talked. You know, a lot of shots being fired here, man, on this topic, you know. So, but again, I think the talent tree's towed. The way that the skill tree is towed. Although, is it even as vast as the Diablo 2 ones? It's hard to tell. It's kind of close. But yeah, it would be, in similar ways, it would be like Diablo 2 where we have all this. Only in addition, say Diablo 2 had a talent twig, right? Where we could connect the little nodes and shit and modify our spells even more with that, you know, to make our build even more custom. You know, so I think that would be toadish. So I think it's a good way to go. But if you guys will like this video, become a patron if you want. Follow me on Facebook, links in the description below. Thank you to my patrons. And let me know what your thoughts are so far on this Diablo 4 announcement. And are you happy with how this game is being made so far or not? And how do you think it's going to compare to Path of Exile 4.0? Let me know in the comments below. And I'll be making more update videos on this. So peace be with you.